5 years. I have a problem with that. I'm not an alien, I'm not foreign, and I think minorities need to be included in. I shouldn't be renewable every 25 years.
Well, I didn't even realize that was the case. You have to renew it 25 years. Here's what I have a problem with, and you know it, we've talked about this. I prosecute gangs. For 20 years I prosecuted gangs and prosecuted organized crime, including corruption cases. The vast majority of people in those cases are minorities. When you get convicted of a felony, you lose your right to vote forever. It's not right.
I thought once you were off probation, once you served your thing, you were off probation.
Done.
Okay, I won't go back. I understand about the criminal element. I'm talking about me as a citizen of this country. I am renewable every 25 years, and I have a problem with that.
So do I. It's ridiculous.
What is that? I'm sorry, I don't understand that.
It's a Civil Rights Act, the voting rights provisions within the Civil Rights
And they
Act.
included us in the Civil Rights Act, and George Bush let it go on for a couple of months or weeks before he decided to sign it back in to renewal.
And
I
that's,
should
yeah,
be
that to me,
renewable.
that's a no-brainer. It's not, but you know, more importantly, think about all these people we're disenfranchising. I mean, I have no problem convicting criminals. I have no problem putting people in jail and hammering them and killing people and shooting people like they are in Syracuse. No problem. But when they pay their debt, you know, you want to try and get them back into this mainstream, or do you want to disenfranchise them from it? Right? If they can't even vote, how do they feel like they give a crap about society? You know? So, in my opinion, that's something we should work on, for sure. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Luke here in the classroom teacher, and I'd like you to talk about your position on supporting public schools, keeping them strong, but along with that, making college education something that average people can afford.
I have two things I'm going through right now with my kids. Right now, I got to trust me. I know it too well. That's another thing to talk about forever. But first of all, public education in this country, we spend an extraordinary amount of money on it, and it's not working for whatever reason. And the biggest concern I have is the disparity between the quality of education in suburban areas and the quality of education in urban areas. And if you look at the city of Syracuse, where do you teach? Okay, where is that? You know, Syracuse. Look at the graduation rate of kids in the city of Syracuse. And look at the graduation rate of kids in West Hill, or Western City My School District. It's stunning the difference.
Look at the poverty rate in both of those
That's
areas.
exactly right. We can talk about that. We talk about that. Because that's where the rubber hits the road in my mind. And that's what nobody talks about. So what I asked the Congressional Research Service to do, I asked a study, I said, tell me what we have for, you know, first of all, we measure us against how we perform with the rest of the world. You with me here? Okay. Good. Tell me how we perform with the rest of the world overall. Right? Okay, and they say we're failing in math, we're dropping in this and that. Then I asked them to say, excise out high poverty areas, just school districts, and then tell me how we're performing. Because I can guarantee you, and you probably agree, we probably perform a hell of a lot better, a hell of a lot closer to the top, if not at the top. Because the bottom line is, in Syracuse alone, 91% of the kids by third grade are below reading grade level. And the statistics tell you, third grade, below reading grade level, your chance of ever catching up are slim and none. And that's why they drop out, that's why you get into crime, that's why you get into gangs. So I think we gotta start looking at what education is, not throw more money at it and all that, but start to identify what's the real problem here. Is it Common Core? Is it gonna solve the problem for a kid in the inner city who doesn't even get enough nutrition? I mean, come on. You gotta start looking at what's really important here, okay? The suburban schools are doing fine. They tend to have two-parent families, they tend to have a little more money, they tend to be able to have some support, right? These kids in the inner city, I don't know, there's 2 or 2.7 million in New York State alone that get the vast majority of meals from school. When school's out, they don't get the meals.
That's right.
I mean, that's a totally different ballgame. Why isn't everybody talking about that? Why isn't everybody talking about the fact that Syracuse is the 23rd most impoverished city in the country? Rochester, New York, guess where they are? Anybody have an idea?
We're in the top 5.
We're number 3 in the country.
Tell that to the governor.
That's an abomination. That is an abomination. So as far as I think with education, we've got to recognize that. Right? And I also firmly believe that Common Core, one-size-fits-all approach it ignores that reality. You have to take on that reality. And so once I get the study back, if it shows what I think it does, then I can try and engage in a public dialogue about it. I hope that answers your question.
I fully agree with everything you said. This Bill Streeter, retired teacher, also co-chair of the ARA, along with the chair of the CARE. So fully agree with what you said about poverty and its impact on these kids in Syracuse. And at the same time, we have some of the best schools in the area in Onondaga County at the same time.
Sure.
And the income disparity is so great. So one of the answers would be the kinds of jobs that we need, manufacturing jobs that are good paying jobs, that are unionized jobs, that actually solve that problem, bring these people up, and then at that point, I think you're going to see the scores increase.
Exactly
But
right.
I've seen the same study you've seen about those. If you factor out poverty, we're 1 to 3 in English and math scores in the nation.
So then what are we doing? What are we doing with this Common Core stuff?
The other question I have it relates to that. We've had 200,000 students opt out, 20% of the students in this state opt out of those tests this year, possibly even more. And yet, our chief officer in the state is saying, well, we're going to penalize those students and schools by taking more money away from them because these students are opting out. And that power lies with Arnie Duncan, too. So what I know you've done something on this, or at least the Senate Republicans have. What are you going to be doing to take the power away from the federal government and the state government to penalize schools where the parents are saying, we want to take our schools back, we want the curriculum we want, it's working for us, why change anything?
Well, because we're starting with a diagram like I'm going to have this today. That one size does not fit all. And the education bill this year, I had some problems with it, so I voted against because I think it's putting too many mandates on the states without any funding for them. But the bottom line is, they count that education bill as starting to untie the hands of states and give them more discretion in how they do it. You can't teach a kid in East LA the same way you teach them in the FM schools. You just can't. You've got to recognize really. You can't teach someone in the Syracuse City School District the same way you teach in West Jersey. You can't. Those kids don't have any, most kids don't have any family life to speak of, and they have high poverty, right? And they need the basics of learning how to read. Okay? And then we're going to tell them, you've got to pass this test. And tell the teachers, if you don't pass this test, well, your job's in trouble. What the hell are we doing? What are we doing? Makes no sense, yes.
Segue to my question on education and what Bill was saying about the reauthorization of the ESEA. You said you voted against that bill. There were a couple of things that are of concern from here personally, but I know that teachers in general. There was no charter oversight in the House version of that bill. So moving forward, that'd be something to be concerned about because the charter schools simply do not, you're talking about operating on the same level playing field, they simply do not operate on the same level playing field. They do not have, they have a different level of funding, they do not have the same transparency and oversight that the public schools do. And that's a concern moving forward. And the other one is the portability of Title I money. And it's often seen as a backdoor voucher program.
Right.
And even good schools in Onondaga County, they're hemorrhaging funds and hemorrhaging programs. We're cutting in West Hill, we're cutting AP courses, we're losing social work. And that's in fairly well-to-do, middle-class, upper-middle-class families are seeing.
Imagine city schools.
Imagine city schools, where my wife works in Northern Cuyahoga County. The one area that nobody talks about is the rural poor in upstate New York. And,
Well,
they're
the rural poor, the real poor in the school lunch programs, in the summertime, they don't have access like the Southwest Community Center. They don't have
They don't have that access.
They don't have that,
So
so
when
that's really a key
when
problem.
I sit next to Kevin Ahern, brother Kevin Ahern in Syracuse, and he says, they know the school district has lost 20% of their teaching staff in the last 5 years. I point to Hannibal, I point to Cato Meridian, and I point to those schools in rural upstate New York. So, these voucher programs and the lack of accountability of the private schools, mainly, and the charters that are functioning off of public money, that are taking money away from public schools, is a very big concern. A few years ago, we got a little shot in the arm from the federal government, and there were some funds to help keep some jobs, and that was a good thing, but it was a short-term fix. And since then, we've lost thousands of public school employees right here in Onondaga County. It did not make a headline to the same degree when we lose a factory that loses 500 workers, or Camilla's Cutlery closes and loses 250 workers. That's a headline for 2 weeks. And we lost thousands of public school employees.
I can tell you
in New
why,
York State.
I can tell you why you
It's
did.
not being talked
It's
about.
very simple. The federal government has issued so many unfunded mandates across the board They dictate that you must do X, Y, and Z, and they don't provide the funding to work with it. That's the problem. And, you know, that's one thing I'm really working hard for, is to try and stop these unfunded mandates. Unfunded mandates are bullshit. Because it's basically sitting there saying, we, the federal government, are telling you what to do, but, oh, you figure out how to pay for it. Then the state says, well, we're not gonna pay for it, you're gonna pay for it in the county, you're gonna pay for your own school district. It trickles down to these towns like Oswego, for example, who had raised their taxes 41% last year.
43.
Excuse me, I was off, I'm sorry.
They wanted 82.
They wanted 82% increase in their property tax. That's insane. And it's because of the unfunded mandates.
Don't worry, Dave can afford it, it's okay.
Yeah, right. Unfunded mandates are immoral, in my mind.
So, to follow up.
I got you,
Wait,
go ahead.
So just to follow up what Bill said, are you in a position as Congressman to contact the Department of Education? You know, they're threatening, the commissioner here in New York State and Arnie Duncan are threatening to sanction schools for the high opt-out rates in New York State.
It's a parent choice. It's
I got to be honest with you, I'm encouraging, I told my kids opt out. My two kids are on IEPs.
Westville, we had 42% of our kids opt out. Are we going to be able to sanction and then have to burden the local taxpayers with that?
I don't think that's
Or
going
are
to
you in a
happen.
position to make?
Well, I'll make a noise about that till the day, I'll go to the mat on that. I'll go to the mat on that. Anything I can do.
Governor Cuomo has left, they're saying, well, it's not enough, it's the federal government that is going to choose.
I'll go to the mat on that.
These,
You know, I mean, we're making a stake in the best way we can by saying, no, screw you. You guys tell us what to do, forget it. And you know what, the teachers need to know we got their backs too. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, not to keep jumping around, but I want to go back to the immigration
It's okay, I
issue
got
for a minute.
PDD, I'm good about jumping around. Go
All
ahead.
right.
It's all right.
Well, the biggest thing that I see with the immigration reform issue that nobody ever wants to talk about is, why are they really here? They're here because people are giving them jobs. They're here because they're getting hired. The problem, and my name's Bob Reap, I'm with the Insulators Union and the Building Trades here in Syracuse. And my problem is I run into companies, and it's more and more up here that are bringing companies up from the south. It's not fair to our local contractors because I just had one a couple years ago, came in with 70% of their workforce. We got it rated, they were undocumented, and what happens? They take the workers away, they replace them with other ones. It's hard to get Border Patrol to rate them again. Nothing happens to the companies. I went through New York State, I tried the feds to do something. Are there penalties on the books? Sure, but they never, ever enforce it.
Any part of immigration reform has to be basically make the reform, but then make the penalties for people who violate, you hammer the shit out.
It's gotta be, not for the workers, I understand why the workers are here. It's the employer has to have a penalty because why would you not do it?
Honest to God, if you use biometrics,
Yeah.
right, and they have to give their thumbprint or their handprint or an iris thing, whatever, we do it all the time in airports now. I'm in charge of security for nationwide for TSA.
Yeah.
The technology's there. You could buy an iPad as a farmer in Topeka.
I got
Just have the guy
companies-
put his thumb on there, you know who he is.
I got companies that hire out on the hall and they still do E-Verify on their guys.
There's no excuse.
But I'm talking about these companies that come in and they use undocumented workers and they get caught. And why would they not do it? They're paying them a lower wage. They're putting, we had 20 people living in a hotel in Syracuse on State Fair Boulevard for this company. And what happened when it happened? They kept the contract, they got to finish the job. Those workers probably didn't get paid for their last 2 weeks because they got taken away to Batavia. And the company didn't get a
Well, I mean,
penalty.
quite frankly, any immigration reform's got to have stiffer penalties for.
On the companies, it's not gonna work.
You know what, it
Nobody
makes it
talks-
easy to verify it this way with biometrics, very easy.
Yeah.
Very, yes.
John, Tom Doglinski, National Association of Letter Carriers. Talked to you a few times about postal reform issues, and you talked briefly a little while ago about unfunded mandates and Congress spending money that they don't have. One of the problems that we face as letter carriers and as federal workers is that we don't receive any taxpayer funding. A lot of people are unaware of that. I know we've schooled you on that, and you're on a bunch of our bills, and we're very thankful for that.
Yeah, back to you guys.
But we still have the pre-funding mandate that was passed during a lame duck session back in 2006 that requires us to pre-fund future health retirement benefits
Yeah, it's been a
to the
big
tune of
problem.
$100 billion. We are scored on budget for those contributions to the federal treasury, and yet that money is earmarked solely for our federal retiree health benefits. We spend about $3 billion a year. There's over $50 billion in that fund. What can you do to reach across to your members? Because that's where we're getting resistance. On the bills that you're on for us, the House resolutions that are there, we're close to the magic number, 218. We've had the support for 6-day delivery, for overturning the PFB. We need you, or we'd like to see what you can do to reach across. Congressman Hanna's been a great supporter of us. We support not according to party affiliation, but to somebody who's sensible and logical and can see we are unfairly burdened with that.
My wife doesn't think I'm sensible and logical, but that's all right. Yeah, no, I absolutely, you know, I tell you, absolutely. You know, if anyone thinks I'm not listening to labor, have a conversation with him. He's talked to me, to educate me on bills, and I'll put my name on it. And I'll do it for the others. I don't care what party is. I really don't give a damn what my party thinks. I care about principles of fiscal conservatism, but when it comes to issues like this, it's doing what's right, okay? And that is an accounting anomaly that should be fixed.
Well, the problem that we have is, with the dysfunction that exists in Congress, how do we get those people on that side of the house who want to privatize the Postal Service, who want to attack federal workers, how do we get that message to them that, hey, you know what, the federal government does something really well, and it's delivering the mail. It's your letter carrier every day.
To me, nationwide. You gotta get the area congressman. And quite frankly, I don't know if anybody knows this, I'll toot my own horn for a second. I have more bills passed in Congress than I think any other congressman in the entire Congress. I have 4 bills passed already. And in 7 months I've been here. And I'm not gonna knock my predecessor, but he never had a bill passed in 4 years. And Congressman Walshman was here, I think it took him to his 4th year to get a bill passed. So I have some skill in trying to reach across the aisle to get things done. Every bill I've had passed, I've had a Democratic co-sponsor as one of the lead sponsors of it. Because to me, if you want to get things done, you have to reach across the aisle. That's how you do it, right? And that's what I'm going to do. So I encourage you to do what you're doing to me, to find those other congressmen that you might be able to sway. And that's how the democratic process works. And people say lobbyists, let's face it, you lobby me, okay? That's not a bad thing, it's a good thing, because you're educating me. And I listen, and we're going to continue to listen. So that's the best way to do it. But anything I can do to help them, I'm happy. Definitely. Yes?
Let's talk transportation.
Good, we want a transportation committee.
Okay, in 6 months, we're gonna be up again where the governor's probably gonna not give us any kind of money for funding for transportation up here upstate.
When you say for mass transit?
Yes,
It's a
absolutely.
perpetual problem, isn't it? It's crazy.
It goes on and on and on, and we need a reliable source of funding so that we can fund the upstate properties. Instead
How
of
can I
having-
help that? Because here's when I see about things you don't think about. I met with Centro, was bored, and when you talk to the folks out in Wayne County, and you think, mass transit, we worry about here. Do you want to meet people, percentage of students at OCC use mass transit? It's stunning. It's a stunning amount. When we talk about cutting mass transit, to cutting it just to make their budgets work, that was basically going to cause kids at LCC to drop out. It's
Well,
crazy.
we're talking jobs here, manufacturing jobs and bringing them back and everything like that, but you need the resources up here to get these people back and forth to their
So how
jobs,
can I
and
help with
school
that?
kids to.
I know they get
school.
grants from the federal government, but how can I help? The grants go to the state in a block, I think, and the states figure out how to spend it.
Well,
Is that how it works?
they get their operating costs from the state, which
Right.
takes care of salaries and all that different kind of thing, and then they get federal funding for their equipment and everything like
Right.
that. And I imagine that's part of the federal transportation bill. Nobody's doing anything.
I know they get block grants to the state, and then you gotta fight tooth and nail to get it upstate.
They're not making any headway in the state or the federal, as far as I'm concerned. And every year we have to fight with the governor because hopefully the FBI will have him indicted shortly and he'll be gone. Don't laugh, it's happening.
No comment.
But anyhow, I mean, it's crazy. Why aren't they coming up with some kind of?
Well, it's a perpetual problem in the state, because the question I have is it because the feds aren't giving them enough money, or is it the states deciding where to put the money? That's the question, because I know the feds give huge block grants every year to mass transit, because part of the transportation bill, the highway fund, 20% of the highway fund goes to mass transit. 20%. And that's a pot of money every year, and that's disseminated out to the states in block grants, and then states decide how to spend it. So I'd like to know, and maybe you can help me educate me on this, is it the problem with not having enough money block grant from the feds, or is it that states put too much money downstate?
Is there a way we can figure out what the case is?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Well,
asking you guys.
it's a two-headed problem because it's on both sides. It's on the state and federal level that there's problems with the funding. Okay, and there's local problems here.
And I was gonna speak on that, on the local issue, and John, I think that it's deeper than just saying that we need to look at it. Central, need to revamp how they're doing business. Because when they come to us, we can't, you talking about bringing jobs here, you would kill our economy if that transit service went away. We're not just talking about OCC, we're talking about people that's going to work at nursing homes, we're talking about people that's going to work all over this city. So, I'm working with Central, because again, they need to start re-looking at how they're doing business We can't do this every year. We cannot be held hostage
Right.
every year talking about public transportation.
You know,
So,
So you guys gotta work with Tom and work with my office, educate us on this, because I wanna know if the problem is lack of federal funding, does that need to be plussed up? I'm sure they'll say yes. Or is it the state not getting their fair share in upstate?
Well, upstate, all the upstate properties, Rochester, Buffalo, Syracuse, Albany, all of them, they're not getting the money they need to run those properties. And there's a couple of problems there, because the way, they line their own pockets with that cash. There's people there making some mad money.
Well, the guy that left Central, didn't he get a job?
$145,000
He's still there, he never even
How
left.
much?
145 just to stay and run it in the ground. But
$145,000.
Right, he's still there. He had no intention of leaving.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're eating that all up. They work, here's the thing. He has 35 years of service. He's walking out with 70% of his salary for a pension. That's outrageous. That's $140,000 a year pension, you know? I mean, and these are the guys that are eating it up, and they haven't changed how they do business in the last 6 months, okay?
Oh, by the way, guys, just so, I just want to clear something up here. For you folks that think that the federal retirement that the congressman got is so great, I don't know what the system was before, but here's what it is for me. 1% for every year in service times your high degree, okay? They match your dollar for dollar to 5% of your income that you put away, right? That's it. You know what my health insurance is right now?
Free.
$1,261 a month. $1,261.
What, for a family plan?
When I left the U.S. Attorney's Office, to get the same plan now is triple, more than triple what it was in the U.S. Attorney's Office. So, just so you know, it's not perception, it's not meeting the reality.
You need to avoid
Two plus one.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
The paratransit situation too is very important in terms of central priority, getting patients around to doctor's visits. So that should also not be ignored. And this lastly, I brought this attention to Congressman, and I brought an article for Tommy about the doctor shortage that's coming up by 2025, and predicting an 88,000 shortage of physicians. And with the ACA, Obamacare, we do not have primary care. I brought this to Congressman's attention. The situation's gotten worse. I brought it up to Walsh, I brought it up to Burkle, to Buffet, and I'm bringing it to him. And it's only gotten worse in all that period of time. The SGR did get fixed. It's Medicare is important. We all need it. But we need the doctors. We don't have them. And as you all get older, God bless you if you're going to be able to find a doctor, because
That's all right, nurse practitioner can do it, Doc.
Yeah, all right, right.
Don't we wish?
Can I just interject, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Doctor, just real quick. Two things. How many of you are going to be subject to the Cadillac tax next year for the health insurance, do you know, from Obamacare? Yeah, I'm kind of interested in seeing who's going to get that. That's going to be interesting. The other thing, too, I just want to let you know, there's been 34 extensions to the highway bill that may be part of the problem, is that they're short-term extensions, so there's no long-term planning, and the grants are not, what they should be and all that. Maybe that's part of it. I can tell you that we're at the point now where we have the best opportunity since 2009 to 2008 to get a long-term highway bill. I think that's critically important for mass transit, long-term planning, critically important for jobs like the 81 project, which will be about $1 billion project. They've got to have long-term planning. So all you guys can get jobs, and all you people can get jobs. That's what I want. And if we get that this year, you guys better have a loud hooray, because that's going to be a major accomplishment. And we got a chance of having it by the end of the year. So I'm very hopeful of that. There's tons of pressure. The Senate passed a bill, in the infinite wisdom of the Senate, a 6-year bill, and only funded 3 years of it. So what are you doing? So we're going to hopefully have a 6-year fix by the end of the year. If we have that, get excited, because that's going to mean more jobs long-term that people can plan on. So, bottom line, last thing I want to say, I don't mean to interrupt you, Doc, but last thing I want to say is, look, okay, think outside the box. I'm thinking outside the box, okay? I'm listening to you people, I'm engaging you. I stand here, I take the fire, because I'm not afraid to take it, I learn from you. So when next year, don't just think you have to vote a certain way. Think with what of the person, not just the candidate, okay? Because it's not just me, anybody, okay? And I vote the other side all the time. And I'm going to continue to do that. I'm an independent voice in Congress. I continue to be one. And if you guys want to give me back again and put me on the grill for anything, I'll come here anytime, anytime. All right?
Tonight is a bad night. We have a lot of things we can take care of.